I'm Amanda Wilson, 32 years old, and this morning I woke up to 327 text messages, most of them accusing me of ruining my family's vacation. My phone kept buzzing with notifications from my sister Heather screaming in all caps about how I'd abandoned her and her twins at the airport. After 5 years of being my sister's unpaid babysitter whenever she wanted a break, I finally chose myself over family obligation. Before I tell you how I became the family villain overnight, let me know where you're watching from. Hit that like and subscribe button if you've ever had to choose between your sanity and family expectations. I grew up in a close-knit family in suburban Massachusetts. My parents, Dennis and Catherine Wilson, always emphasized family loyalty above everything else. Family first was practically our household motto, embroidered on pillows and framed on walls. Growing up, that motto felt warm and comforting. As an adult, it became the chain that kept me from establishing healthy boundaries. I worked incredibly hard to build my career as a marketing executive at a Boston firm. I put myself through business school, climbed the corporate ladder through late nights and weekends, and finally earned my corner office last year. My parents acknowledged my success with polite nods, but they never seemed truly impressed. My mother would say things like, "That's nice, dear. Did you hear Heather is organizing the school fundraiser again this year?" My accomplishments were always secondary to my sister's life events. Heather is 3 years older than me, and has been the center of our family universe since childhood. She was the homecoming queen, the girl who married her high school sweetheart Bradley, and the first to give our parents grandchildren. Being Heather's sister meant living in a perpetual shadow, one that grew darker when she had her twins Jacob and James. Don't get me wrong, I love my nephews. They're sweet boys with dimpled smiles and curious minds. But their arrival 5 years ago completely changed my relationship with my sister and my role in our family dynamic. Bradley travels constantly for his consulting job. He's on the road at least 20 days each month, leaving Heather alone with the twins. When they were born, I happily helped out. I'd visit on weekends, bring dinner over on Wednesday nights, and occasionally babysit so Heather could get her hair done or meet friends for lunch. But occasional help quickly evolved into expected service. Heather started calling with emergencies that were really just her wanting a break. "Amanda, can you please come over? The boys are driving me crazy, and I just need 2 hours to myself." Those 2 hours would stretch into entire evenings. Then it became overnight stays. Then entire weekends. My parents encouraged this. "Your sister needs you," my dad would say. "That's what family does." My mother would add, "It's not like you have children of your own to worry about," as though my time was inherently less valuable because I wasn't a parent. Family vacations became particularly problematic. 2 years ago, we went to a lakeside cabin in Maine. I discovered upon arrival that I was sharing a room with both twins, while Heather and Bradley had the master suite. "The boys are more comfortable with you anyway," Heather said, handing me their suitcases. I spent that entire week waking up at 6 a.m., with the boys preparing their meals, watching them at the lake, putting them to bed, and then doing it all again the next day. Last year's trip to the Smoky Mountains was even worse. Heather and Bradley disappeared for entire days, leaving me with the twins. When I confronted her, she seemed genuinely surprised. "But you're so good with them and they love spending time with their Aunt Amanda," she said, completely missing the point that I had come on vacation to relax, not to provide free childcare. After each trip, I would return home exhausted and resentful, promising myself I would establish better boundaries next time. But whenever I tried, I was met with sighs, guilt trips, and reminders of how family should support each other. 3 months ago, my father announced during Sunday dinner that he had booked a family trip to Hawaii. 2 weeks in paradise, he said proudly. "I've been saving for years, all expenses paid. My treat to my favorite people in the world." Everyone cheered except me. I smiled weakly, already imagining how this would play out. When the initial excitement died down, I gently suggested that my work schedule might be too busy for a 2-week trip. "You can't miss this," my mother said firmly. "This is a once-in-a-lifetime family experience." Heather reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Plus, the boys have already been talking about building sand castles with Aunt Amanda. And just like that, my fate was sealed. No one had asked if I wanted to go. No one had checked my availability before booking. No one had considered that I might have plans or preferences of my own. I was simply expected to show up and fulfill my assigned role in the family hierarchy. As dinner continued, I watched my family excitedly discuss snorkeling and luau's, while I calculated how many hours of the vacation would be spent watching my nephews, so everyone else could enjoy paradise. I left that dinner with a knot in my stomach that would only grow tighter in the coming weeks. The family group chat exploded with vacation planning. My mother created a dedicated Hawaii 2025 chat, where she posted daily updates, packing lists, and excursion ideas. My input was rarely acknowledged, unless it involved the twins. Amanda, can you research kid-friendly beaches? Heather would ask. Or, Amanda, what activities can you do with the boys while we check out that adults-only sunset cruise? During our weekly planning calls, I tried setting some boundaries. I'm happy to spend time with Jacob and James, I said during one call, but I'd also like to do some exploring on my own. There's a hiking trail I read about that I'd love to check out. My mother laughed lightly. Honey, this is a family vacation. We do things together. Besides, Heather added, Bradley and I were counting on you for Tuesday night. There's a dinner cruise we wanted to try. And Thursday afternoon, Bradley chimed in. There's a golf course I've been dying to play. Each planning session revealed more expectations, more assumptions about my availability, more plans made that involved me watching the twins, without anyone bothering to ask first. Then 2 months before the trip, a potential escape hatch appeared. My company landed a major potential client, and as team lead, I would be responsible for the pitch. The timeline put the final presentation potentially during our Hawaii trip. I brought this up during our next family dinner. There's a chance I might have to fly back early or even miss part of the trip, I explained. This client could mean a huge promotion for me. The response was immediate and overwhelming. You can work remotely, my father suggested, as though pitching a multi-million-dollar campaign could be done from a beach towel. Family comes first, Amanda, my mother reminded me. Work will always be there. The boys will be devastated, Heather said, her eyes already glistening with tears. They've been counting down the days. Even Bradley joined in. Surely someone else on your team can handle it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime trip. I tried explaining the importance of this opportunity for my career, but my words fell on deaf ears. No one in my family had ever prioritized career advancement the way I did. To them, my dedication to my job was at best a curious quirk, and at worst a personal failing. I left that dinner feeling cornered, my anxiety about the trip mounting. That night, I called my friend Stephanie Campbell, the one person who truly understood my family dynamic. They're doing it again, I told her, pacing my apartment. 2 weeks of being the family babysitter while everyone else has fun. Then don't go, Stephanie said simply. I can't just not go. They've been planning this for months. My dad paid for everything. Amanda, how many more vacations are you going to sacrifice? How many more holidays? How many more weekends? When does it stop? Her questions lingered with me for days afterward. The final planning meeting was the breaking point. We gathered at my parents' house 1 week before departure to finalize details. Heather proudly announced she'd requested adjoining rooms for us. I made sure our rooms have a connecting door, she said. That way the boys can go back and forth easily. They can even sleep in your room some nights if they want. I stared at her speechless. She hadn't even asked me. She'd just assumed I'd want the twins to have unlimited access to my space. And we've got it all figured out, she continued cheerfully. Mom and Dad will take the boys on Monday, while Bradley and I check out the spa. You'll have them Tuesday for our dinner cruise. Wednesday we thought we'd all do the beach together. And then... She paused, exchanging a look with Bradley, before continuing with barely contained excitement. We have amazing news. Bradley and I booked a 3-day retreat at this couple's resort on the other side of the island Thursday through Saturday. Mom and Dad already said they need a break after Monday, so we were thinking you could. I didn't hear the rest of her sentence. A 3-day retreat. They had planned to disappear for 3 days and leave me with the twins for half of our vacation, without even asking me first. In that moment, something inside me snapped. The weight of years of being taken advantage of having my time devalued, of being expected to set aside my needs for everyone else's convenience, came crashing down. I smiled tightly and excused myself to the bathroom, where I splashed cold water on my face and took several deep breaths. I looked at my reflection in the mirror and hardly recognized the woman staring back at me. When had I become so compliant, so afraid to stand up for myself, so willing to be used? As I rejoined the family, I made a silent decision. I would find a way out of this situation. I had to, for my own sanity. Despite my internal rebellion, I outwardly agreed to the vacation plans. I packed my suitcase, set my out-of-office email response, and showed up at my parents' house at 5 a.m. on departure day for our shared shuttle to the airport. But I had a backup plan. The client pitch I'd mentioned wasn't just a possibility. It was scheduled, and it was in Chicago the same week as our Hawaii trip. I told my boss I couldn't attend because of the family vacation, but the night before our departure, I emailed her, saying my plans had changed, and I could make it after all. She was delighted and immediately sent me the booking information for a flight to Chicago. A flight that by sheer coincidence was scheduled to depart from the same terminal as our Hawaii flight just 2 hours earlier. The morning of our departure was chaos. My parents were fussing over last-minute details. Heather was trying to manage the twins who were overexcited and racing around the house. Bradley was on a work call that he swore would end before we reached the airport. In the shuttle, Jacob and James bounced on the seats, while Heather scrolled through her phone. "Amanda," she said, without looking up, "can you make sure the boys don't spill their juice? And maybe play a game with them or something? They're getting restless." I bit my tongue and spent the 30-minute drive playing I Spy with my nephews, while everyone else relaxed. It was a preview of the next 2 weeks, and it made my resolve stronger. At the airport, my sister's true colors showed immediately. As we approached the check-in counter, she handed me the twins' backpacks. "Can you carry these? My shoulder's been killing me." Then, as we made our way to security, Bradley's phone rang again. "I have to take this," he said, stepping aside. Heather sighed dramatically and turned to me. "Amanda, I need to use the restroom. Can you take the boys through security? We'll meet you at the gate." I looked at my watch. My Chicago flight would be boarding in 40 minutes. The Hawaii flight wasn't for another 2 hours. "Actually, I need to use the restroom too," I said. Heather's expression darkened. "Can't you wait? The line will be long and we don't want to miss our flight." "Our flight isn't for 2 hours, I reminded her. "Yes, but the boys are getting antsy. It's better if we get through security now, and then they can run around in the terminal." Translation: "It's better for me if you take them now, so I can have a break." 5 years of this. 5 years of her needs always coming first. 5 years of being taken for granted. 5 years of swallowing my resentment to keep the peace. "Fine," I said. "But hurry, okay?" Heather beamed, already backing away. "You're the best. We won't be long." I stood there with my nephews, each holding one of my hands, watching my sister and brother-in-law disappear into the crowd. My parents had gone ahead to check in our larger bags and would meet us at the gate. As I approached the security line, I saw the sign for gates A1, A20, pointing to the right. Our Hawaii flight was departing from gate A18. My Chicago flight was departing from gate A12. In that moment, I made a decision. I knelt down beside the twins. "Jacob, James, I need you to do something very important for me." "Okay. See that nice lady in the blue uniform? She works at the airport. I need you to stay right here with her for just 2 minutes while I get something. Can you do that? It's a big boy job. They nodded solemnly, always eager to prove they were big boys. I approached the airport staff member, a kind-faced woman with a name tag that read Patricia. "Excuse me," I said. "I have an emergency and need to run to the restroom. Would you mind watching my nephews for just a minute? Their parents are right behind us in line." Patricia looked uncertain but agreed when she saw the twins' well-behaved demeanor. "Just be quick," she said. I hugged the boys, told them I'd be right back, and then walked calmly toward gate A12. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it might burst from my chest. Was I really doing this? Was I really walking away from my family at the airport? Yes I was. I didn't run. I didn't look back. I walked with purpose toward my gate, where they had just started the boarding process. I turned my phone to airplane mode, handed my ticket to the gate agent, and boarded the plane to Chicago. As I settled into my seat, a strange mixture of emotions washed over me. Guilt, certainly, fear of the confrontation to come, but also an overwhelming sense of relief. For the first time in years, I had chosen myself. I had refused to be the family doormat. I had set a boundary and stuck to it. The plane pushed back from the gate. Through the window, I could see the terminal where my family was probably just realizing I was gone. Heather would be frantic, calling my phone that wouldn't ring. My parents would be confused and concerned. The twins might be crying. I closed my eyes as the plane accelerated down the runway. There was no turning back now. 3 hours later, we landed in Chicago. I turned my phone back on and watched in horror as notification after notification filled my screen. 47 missed calls, dozens of text messages, multiple voicemails. The first text from Heather. "Where are you? The boys said you left them with airport staff. Call me now." From my mother, Amanda. "What's happening? Everyone's worried sick." From my father. "This isn't funny, Amanda. Call immediately." As the messages continued, they grew increasingly angry and accusatory. By the time I landed, my entire family had united in outrage at my betrayal. I took a deep breath and read through all the messages, each one more scathing than the last. "Heather, I cannot believe you abandoned my children at the airport. What kind of person does that? The boys are devastated. They keep asking where Aunt Amanda went. What am I supposed to tell them?" My father, Amanda Wilson. "I have never been more disappointed in you. Your mother is in tears. Call us immediately and explain yourself." My mother. "How could you do this to your family? To those innocent boys? I didn't raise you to be this selfish." That last one stung the most. Selfish. Because I refused to be manipulated and used. Because I finally stood up for myself after years of being taken advantage of. Because I chose my career and mental well-being over 2 weeks of unpaid babysitting. I had 12 voicemails, most from Heather, alternating between sobbing and yelling. 1 from my father demanding an explanation, 2 from Bradley that started diplomatic, but quickly devolved into accusations. I sent a brief group text, "I'm safe. I'm in Chicago for the client pitch I told you about. I'm sorry for any worry I caused, but I need some space right now. Enjoy Hawaii." Then, I turned my phone off again and took a taxi to my hotel. My colleague Rebecca Chandler met me in the hotel lobby. She looked surprised by my appearance. "Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I realized I was shaking. "Family drama," I managed to say. "I'll be fine. Just need to focus on the pitch." Rebecca, bless her, didn't press. Instead, she handed me the conference schedule and suggested we get dinner to go over our presentation. That night after Rebecca left, I turned my phone back on to a fresh barrage. The situation had escalated. Not only were my immediate family members furious, but now extended family had been drawn into the drama. My aunt, Sylvia. "Your mother called me in tears. I don't know what's gotten into you, Amanda." My cousin Tiffany, "Heather's posting about your disappearing act on social media. Thought you should know." Curious, I opened Instagram to find multiple posts from Heather, documenting the family drama. a photo of the twins looking sad on a Hawaiian beach, with the caption, "Missing their aunt, who abandoned them right before our vacation." Another of Heather, with puffy eyes. When someone you trust betrays you and ruins what should have been a perfect family trip. The comments were filled with sympathy for Heather and condemnation of me, the selfish aunt who had ruined everything. People who didn't know me, didn't know our family dynamic, didn't know the years of being taken advantage of, were quick to judge me as the villain in this story. Only my cousin Grace sent a private, supportive message. "Don't let them guilt you. They had it coming. Call me when you're ready to talk." That night alone in my hotel room, I finally broke down. I sobbed until my throat was raw and my eyes were swollen. All the hurt, all the resentment, all the guilt came pouring out. I cried for the little girl who had always lived in her sister's shadow. I cried for the woman who had never learned to say no. I cried for the aunt who truly did love her nephews, but couldn't be the martyr her family needed her to be anymore. The next morning, I woke to another text from my mother that broke my heart. "I don't recognize the daughter I raised. The Amanda I know would never abandon her family like this. I don't know if I can forgive this level of selfishness." Selfishness. There was that word again. Somehow, in my family's eyes, setting a boundary was the ultimate act of selfishness. Taking care of myself was selfish. Pursuing my career was selfish. Everything that wasn't complete self-sacrifice was selfish. That's when I realized, if enforcing healthy boundaries made me selfish in their eyes, then maybe I needed to be selfish. Maybe selfish wasn't the insult they intended it to be. I straightened my shoulders, dried my tears, and went to the conference with a new resolve. I would not let my family's manipulation ruin this opportunity. I would focus on the pitch ace, the presentation, and deal with the family fallout afterward. While I was throwing myself into the Chicago conference, the Hawaii vacation was apparently falling apart without me there to hold it together. The updates came from Grace, who was getting regular calls from my mother. According to Grace, Heather was struggling to manage the twins on her own. Without me there to take over, whenever she got overwhelmed, she was forced to actually parent her children full-time, something she clearly wasn't used to doing. "Aunt Catherine says the boys had a meltdown in a restaurant yesterday," Grace texted. "Heather couldn't calm them down and they had to leave before the food even arrived. She's blaming it on them being upset about you, but we all know it's because she never disciplines them." My parents, who had envisioned a relaxing tropical getaway, found themselves drafted into childcare duty. My father's dream of golfing every day was replaced by building sandcastles and hunting for seashells. My mother, who had packed elegant evening wear for fancy dinners, instead spent her days chasing twins around the resort pool. Bradley, who had counted on me to watch the twins during their couples retreat, was particularly furious. The resort had a strict no refunds policy, so they were out $3,000 for a romantic getaway they couldn't take. He'd apparently had a shouting match with Heather in their hotel room, loud enough that my parents had to come intervene. The family divisions were becoming apparent. My father and Bradley were angry at me, but also increasingly frustrated with Heather's inability to manage without me. My mother remained firmly in Heather's corner, convinced I had deliberately sabotaged the vacation out of spite, and Heather herself oscillated between rage and self-pity, posting increasingly dramatic updates on social media. Day 3 of vacation hell, Grace quoted from Heather's private Facebook post. "The boys won't stop asking for Amanda. Thanks, sis, for traumatizing my children." The most absurd moment came on their 4th day, when Jacob tripped and scraped his knee by the pool. According to Grace, Heather had actually said, "This wouldn't have happened if Amanda were here watching them properly." As if scraped knees weren't a normal part of childhood. As if I had some magical ability to prevent all accidents and discomfort. As if her children's safety was somehow more my responsibility than hers. The tension continued to mount, until on day 5 my father made an executive decision they were cutting the trip short. What was supposed to be a 2-week vacation would end after just one. No one was having fun. The twins were miserable. Heather and Bradley were fighting. My parents were exhausted. And somehow, According to the family consensus, it was all my fault. Not Heather's for failing to prepare for a vacation with her own children. Not my parents for enabling her dependence on me for years. Not Bradley's for his absence in his sons' lives. Somehow I had become the scapegoat for every family dysfunction that had been building for years. On the 6th day of what should have been their tropical paradise while I was nailing my presentation to the potential client in Chicago, my family was boarding a flight back to Massachusetts, united in their resentment toward me. Grace's final update was almost amusing in its absurdity. They're coming home early and planning an emergency family meeting to discuss the Amanda situation. Aunt Catherine used the phrase, intervention. Just thought you should be prepared. An intervention. As though setting a boundary was equivalent to having a drug problem or a gambling addiction. As though choosing myself for once was something that required family correction. For the first time since this all began, I felt not just justified in my decision, but vindicated. Their reaction to my absence had revealed exactly what I had suspected all along. I wasn't valued as a person in my own right. I was valued for my utility, for the free childcare I provided, for my willingness to set aside my needs for everyone else's convenience. That night, I sent a single text to the family group chat. I understand you're coming home early. I'll be back from Chicago on Friday. I'm happy to talk then, but only if we can have a respectful conversation about boundaries and expectations going forward. The responses were immediate and hostile. Heather, boundaries. After what you did. My father. You don't get to dictate terms after ruining our vacation. My mother. We raised you better than this, Amanda. I turned off my phone again and tried to focus on the successful pitch we'd just delivered. Our potential client had been impressed. My boss was thrilled. This could mean a promotion, a raise, recognition for all my hard work. But even this professional triumph was tainted by the knowledge that my family would never celebrate it with me. They would see it only as the reason I had abandoned them, never as the achievement it was. The Chicago conference turned out to be professionally transformative. Our team delivered an outstanding pitch the client signed with us, and my boss hinted strongly that a promotion was in my future. I made valuable connections, attended inspiring workshops, and even had time to explore the city a bit. Most importantly, I experienced what it felt like to prioritize myself without guilt. I slept well, ate when I was hungry, worked hard, but also rested when I needed to. Simple things really, but luxuries compared to what a Hawaiian vacation with my family would have been. On my 3rd day in Chicago, I made an appointment with Dr. Eleanor Mitchell, a therapist I'd been seeing occasionally for the past year. We had a video session where I poured out everything that had happened. Amanda, she said after listening carefully, what would you say to a friend who told you this exact story? If a close friend told you her family treated her this way, what advice would you give her? I thought about it. I'd tell her she deserves better. That it's not her job to be everyone's safety net. That she has a right to her own life. Exactly, Dr. Mitchell nodded. Now why is it so hard to give yourself that same compassion? We spent the hour dissecting the family dynamics that had led to this point. How Heather had been positioned as the golden child from an early age. How I had been cast in the supporting role. How patterns established in childhood had carried into adulthood. How boundaries were seen as threats in family systems that relied on certain members sacrificing their needs. Your family is experiencing what we call an extinction burst, Dr. Mitchell explained. You've changed the rules of engagement, and they're responding with escalated attempts to get you back in line. It's uncomfortable, but it's actually a necessary part of establishing new, healthier boundaries. So what do I do now? I asked. You stay consistent. You communicate your boundaries clearly and calmly. You don't justify or over-explain. And you accept that they may never fully understand or approve of your decision. After our session, I felt stronger, more centered. I drafted a calm, clear email to my family, explaining my perspective. I detailed the years of being taken for granted, The assumptions about my availability, the disregard for my career and personal time. I explained that I loved them and wanted a relationship with them, but not at the cost of my own well-being. I sent the email and then focused on enjoying my last 2 days in Chicago. When I returned to Boston, I would face them in person, but for now, I gave myself permission to set the family drama aside. The day before I flew home, my father called. Unlike the angry texts and voicemails from before, his voice was measured, controlled. "We need to talk when you get back," he said. "I'd like that," I replied. "I have a lot to say. Your mother and sister are very hurt, Amanda." "I understand that. I'm hurt too." He sighed heavily. "This isn't like you. You've always been the reliable one, the thoughtful one." Dad, being reliable doesn't mean being a doormat. Being thoughtful doesn't mean ignoring my own needs. There was a long pause. "Just come over when you get back. Friday night. Dinner. We'll sort this out." After we hung up, I took a deep breath. At least he was willing to talk. It was a start. When I returned to my apartment on Friday afternoon, it felt like a sanctuary. My own space with no expectations, no demands, no one needing anything from me. I took a long shower, put on comfortable clothes, and prepared myself mentally for the confrontation to come. Dinner at my parents' house was a tense affair. Heather glared at me from across the table. My mother kept sighing dramatically. My father tried to maintain a facade of normalcy, asking about my trip as though it had been a planned vacation, rather than an escape from family obligation. After dinner, we moved to the living room for the talk. Heather immediately launched into an attack. "How could you abandon my children at the airport? Do you have any idea how traumatized they were? They cried for you every day in Hawaii." I remained calm. "I didn't abandon them. I left them with airport staff and made sure you knew where they were. And I'm sorry they were upset, but that's not on me. That's a result of the unhealthy dynamic we've created, where they see me as a third parent." "What is that supposed to mean?" Heather demanded. "It means that you've relied on me as a co-parent for 5 years without my consent and without any regard for my time or needs." "Oh, so spending time with your nephews is such a burden, such a terrible imposition." "No, Heather. I love Jacob and James. But being expected to care for them whenever it's convenient for you, without being asked, without any consideration for my plans or preferences, that's the problem." My mother jumped in. "Amanda, you're being incredibly selfish. Your sister needs help. Those boys need their aunt. Mom needing help is one thing. Assuming it's available on demand is another. And yes, the boys need their aunt. But they need an aunt who's present because she wants to be, not because she's been manipulated and guilted into it." My father, who had been quiet, finally spoke. "The way you left Amanda. Without a word. It was inappropriate." "I agree it wasn't ideal," I conceded. "But I had tried talking to you all many times about needing more boundaries, about my work commitments, about wanting some independence on this trip. No one listened. No one cared what I wanted." "That's not true," my mother protested. "Isn't it I challenged? When I told you about the client pitch, did anyone say, 'That sounds important, Amanda. We understand if you can't make the whole trip'? When I said I wanted to do some activities on my own in Hawaii, did anyone respect that? When Heather announced she'd booked a joining room so the twins could have access to me, 24/7, did anyone think maybe I should have been consulted first?" The room fell silent. And the 3-day couples retreat, I continued looking directly at Heather and Bradley. "You plan to disappear for 3 days and leave me with the twins, without even asking if I was okay with that. How is that respectful of my time?" Bradley, to my surprise, looked uncomfortable. "She has a point," he said quietly. "We did just assume she'd watch the boys." Heather turned on him, betrayal in her eyes. "Whose side are you on?" "I'm not taking sides," he said. "But put yourself in her position, Heather. How would you feel?" For the first time, a flicker of doubt crossed my sister's face, but she quickly recovered. That doesn't excuse what she did. She ruined our vacation. She humiliated me in front of everyone, when those airport people thought I'd abandoned my own children. I'm sorry about that, I said sincerely. But Heather, you need to understand. This vacation was ruined long before I walked away. It was ruined the moment everyone decided my only value was as a built-in babysitter. The conversation continued for hours, sometimes heated, sometimes tearful. My parents struggled to see my perspective too, entrenched in old patterns to recognize their role in the dynamic. Heather oscillated between self-righteous anger and glimpses of genuine reflection. By the end of the night, we hadn't resolved everything, but I had stood my ground. I had spoken my truth without backing down, without accepting the role of villain they wanted to cast me in. As I left, my father walked me to my car. I don't agree with how you handled this, he said. But I can see that we've taken you for granted. That's on us. It wasn't a full acknowledgement, but it was something. A crack in the family united front. A small validation that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't entirely in the wrong. The next 3 weeks were difficult. Heather refused to speak to me. My mother's communication was limited to guilt-inducing texts about how much the twins missed me. My father made awkward attempts at reconciliation that never quite acknowledged the core issues. But in my apartment, in my space, I found peace. I focused on work, celebrating my promotion when it came through. I spent time with friends who valued and respected me. I continued my sessions with Dr. Mitchell, strengthening my resolve and working through the guilt that still occasionally surfaced. And I discovered something surprising. Without the constant drain of my family's demands, I had energy for other things. I joined a hiking group. I took a pottery class. I started dating again after a 2-year hiatus. I remembered what it felt like to have a life that was truly my own. 3 weeks of family cold shoulder treatment gave me space to focus on myself, but it was painful nonetheless. I missed my nephews. Despite everything, I missed Sunday dinners and the sense of belonging that came with family, dysfunctional as ours might be. The first crack in the ice came from an unexpected source. Bradley called me one evening, asking if we could meet for coffee. Just you and me, he said. No Heather, no parents, just a conversation. We met at a quiet cafe the next day. Bradley looked tired. The kind of bone-deep exhaustion I recognized from my own reflection during the worst periods of family drama. Heather doesn't know I'm here, he said after we'd gotten our drinks. She'd see it as a betrayal. Why are you here then? I asked. He stared into his coffee. Because you were right. About everything. The way we've all treated you. The expectations. The taking you for granted. All of it. I sat in stunned silence as he continued. After you left, nothing worked. The boys were upset, yes, but it was more than that. Heather couldn't cope. Your parents tried to help, but they're older now. They don't have the energy. And he paused, looking ashamed. I've been absent too much. I relied on you being there just as much as Heather did. What are you saying, Bradley? I'm saying I see it now. How unfair it's been to you. How we've all used you without considering what you needed. He looked up at me. I'm saying I'm sorry. And I'm asking for your help in fixing this. Not by going back to how things were, but by creating something healthier. That conversation with Bradley became the catalyst for change. He spoke to my father, who reached out to me the following day. Slowly, cautiously, we began rebuilding communication. My mother was next. She called me one afternoon, her voice tearful but controlled. Bradley says we need to listen to you, she said. Really listen. I'm trying to understand Amanda. Help me understand. I invited her to meet me for lunch, just the two of us. Over sandwiches and iced tea, I explained as gently as I could how it felt to always be considered less important than Heather, how painful it was to have my career and personal life dismissed, how exhausting it was to constantly put everyone else's needs before my own. I never saw it that way, my mother admitted. I thought, I thought you enjoyed being involved with the boys. I thought you were happy to help because you don't have children of your own. I do love being involved with Jacob and James, I said, but on my terms, as their aunt, not as a third parent who never consented to the role. My mother reached across the table and took my hand. I'm sorry, Amanda. I truly am. I didn't realize how much we were asking of you. Heather was the hardest. She maintained her anger the longest, convinced she was the wronged party. It took nearly a month before she agreed to meet with me, and even then, it was only with the condition that we meet with a family therapist present. Dr. Renee Taylor's office became the neutral ground where Heather and I could finally speak honestly to each other. In our first session, the anger and hurt poured out from both sides. Heather felt abandoned and betrayed. I felt used and unappreciated. Heather, Dr. Taylor said gently, after we'd both had our say, "Can you try to imagine how it feels for Amanda when you make plans that involve her time, without asking first?" "She's my sister," Heather said, as though that explained everything. "Family helps family." "Yes, but help that's freely given is different from help that's expected or demanded," Dr. Taylor pointed out. "One nurtures relationships, the other damages them." It took several sessions, but slowly, painfully, Heather began to see how her behavior had contributed to the situation. She wasn't ready to take full responsibility, but she was at least willing to acknowledge that changes needed to be made. "I don't know how to do this without you," she admitted in our fourth session. "I've relied on you so much with the boys." "I'm not saying I won't help anymore," I clarified. "I'm saying I need to be asked, not told. I need my no to be respected when I give it. I need to be seen as a person with my own life, not just as an extension of yours." Rebuilding my relationship with the twins was both the easiest and the hardest part. The easiest because children are naturally forgiving, especially when they love you. The hardest because I needed to establish new patterns without hurting them in the process. The first time I saw them again was at a carefully planned park outing. They ran to me with open arms, no trace of resentment for my disappearance, only joy at my return. "Aunt Amanda, we missed you so much," Jacob exclaimed, wrapping his arms around my waist. "Did you bring us anything from your trip?" James asked hopefully. I had, of course. Small snow globes from Chicago that they treasured as though they were priceless artifacts. As we played on the swings, I explained in simple terms what had happened. "Sometimes grown-ups need space to take care of themselves," I said. "Like how you need quiet time when you're feeling overwhelmed. I needed some quiet time, but I never stopped loving you." "Mom said you left because you didn't want to be with us," Jacob said quietly. My heart broke a little at his words. "That's not true at all. I love being with you both. I just needed to make sure I was taking care of myself too, so I can be the best aunt possible." Over the following weeks, our family slowly established new, healthier patterns. We started attending regular family therapy sessions. My parents made efforts to acknowledge my career achievements. Heather began asking rather than assuming when she needed help with the twins. There were setbacks, of course. Old habits die hard. Heather would occasionally slip into her entitled expectations. My mother would sometimes side with her automatically. My father would retreat into silence when conflicts arose. But we were trying, all of us, and that made all the difference. 2 months after the Hawaii disaster, we had our first successful family dinner. No tension, no passive-aggressive comments, no expectations. Just a family enjoying each other's company. Each person's boundaries respected, each person's needs considered. As I drove home that night, I reflected on how far we'd come. The airport escape that had seemed so dramatic, so final, had actually been the beginning of something new. By refusing to continue in an unhealthy dynamic, I had forced change that was ultimately better for everyone. Heather was learning to be more self-sufficient with her children. Bradley was stepping up as a more present father. My parents were recognizing that family support should be reciprocal, not one-sided. And I was learning that setting boundaries didn't mean losing connection. In fact, it made connection more meaningful, more authentic. I still helped with the twins, but now it was on my terms. When I spent time with them, it was because I wanted to, not because I'd been guilted or manipulated into it. And somehow, that made our time together even more special. The greatest lesson I learned through all of this was that sometimes what looks like ruining a vacation is actually the first step to rebuilding a family. The hardest part wasn't walking away at the airport. It was learning that loving my family meant first loving myself enough to say no. Have you ever had to set a difficult boundary with family? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Sometimes it helps to know we're not alone in these struggles. Don't forget to like this video if you could relate to any part of my journey. Subscribe to hear more stories of family healing and share with someone who might need to know it's okay to choose themselves sometimes. Thank you for listening. And remember, healthy boundaries make healthier relationships.